New tonight, we take on an issue that's really uncomfortable to talk about. The name Joe McNeely is clearly absent from a number of history books.
But his death back in 1913 happened in a very public place that is now visited by hundreds of thousands of NFL fans each season. Steve Crump has the story of Charlotte's first racially motivated lynching. And we want to let you know this story does contain historical photos that some people might find disturbing.
This well-known home of the Carolina Panthers was the scene of a bizarre murder mystery that unfolded more than 100 years ago. Valuable Center City property is now occupied by Bank of America Stadium, but in August of 1913, the team's turf became the site of Charlotte's very first racially motivated lynching.
I had known about this lynching for over a decade.
Historian Willie Griffin of the Levine Museum of the New South remains deeply intrigued by the newspaper accounts. What's known as Joe McNeely was involved in a shootout with a Charlotte policeman. Both were wounded. The white officer was taken to Presbyterian Hospital and survived. McNeely, a black man, transported to the African-American operated Good Samaritan Hospital.
Some say that a group as large as 70. Another version says as low as 30 men, masked men, gathered in the middle of the night around 1 o'clock in the morning and stormed the hospital, drug him out of his hospital bed and out into the front of the hospital, and they riddled him with bullets, and then they disappeared.
I am persuaded that we're not free yet in America, that we're burdened by this history. It's created a kind of smog that's in the air.
Civil rights attorney Brian Stevenson heads up the Equal Justice Initiative and was one of the driving forces behind this lynching memorial in Montgomery, Alabama. The exhibit, part of the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, pays tribute to the thousands of lynching victims who died violently in the 19th and 20th century. They were mainly black, and most of the killings happened in the South.
We're doing something really unique in this country at a time when it's desperately needed.
Back in March, 2 busloads of Charlotte's civic and business leaders went to Alabama and came face to face with the names, places, and unjust past by walking through this painful display. Among them, Robert Bush of the Arts and Science Council.
If we do not understand that part of our history as a country and the community's history in that history, we can never come to grips with some of the things that we're dealing with today.
Comprehending the horror brought a swift response. Work is currently underway at the Levine Museum of the New South, which opens a lynching exhibit connected to the Alabama Legacy Museum.
So the exhibit is a part of a community-wide effort.
Back at B of A Stadium, a placard honors the legacy of Good Samaritan Hospital, and several community events will recognize the life of Joe McNeely. Those who studied the case said he was shot to death near the 20-yard line.
This is not asking for forgiveness. It's asking for understanding and respect and memory of these individuals who lost their lives because of mob rule.
Powerful message, and Steve Crump joins us now live.
And Steve, a lot of history here that so many people don't know about.
That's true, and it happened, Maureen, right in Center City, Charlotte. The question tonight is, how does this dialogue move the community forward? From what we understand, there are a number of efforts that will be happening in the next few months that involves the corporate community, organizations such as the Arts and Science Council of Charlotte-Mecklenburg, Bank of America, just to name a few. And they plan to go back and not only examine this case, but also further the conversation as it relates to community, finding a sense of healing.